Minnesota with a remarkable run through this series. Ups and downs throughout, no doubt, but it was the Wild's best players that were their best players at the key time tonight. Mike, depth is great, and this team is deeper than any team you've gone in with. But I talked to Zach Parise, I talked to Jason Pominville, and they said, no matter what, we have to score. Yeah. We have to produce. As much of a luxury as depth is, how much do you need your top line in this series?
Well, that's what you love about those guys. That's what they're going to say. People would be surprised at how little I pay attention to the statistics of certain players, and because I'm far more concerned of what's about to happen, and the thing that only matters to me is winning hockey games right now. And so now, obviously, if those guys are scoring more goals, we have a better chance of winning. But we're going to need those guys to do other things, and we're going to need those guys to be good in defensive roles. And if they're not scoring, make sure you're not losing your matchup. And with that, we need other guys to step up. We've got. When we're successful, this is not an individual thing, and certain guys are going to be talked about more than others. That's understandable. Certain guys are going to get a little bit more recognition on some nights, and some guys might get a little bit more criticism if we lose. But bottom line is and I know this sounds awfully cliche, but we need everybody, and we need everybody on the same page. And if you're doing things the right way, then it gives somebody different a chance every night to be the hero. And if we're not doing it that way, then we have very little chance of success.
One area where clearly heading in it feels different is in the nets. I mean, you look back 2 years ago, it was Backstrom to Harding to Kemper. Last year it was Kemper to Brizgalov. Now you have a guy that you know is going to be in there for you each and every night. How much extra confidence does that give you as a coach, but also your players, knowing that you've got a guy on whom you can count in the nets?
Yeah, well, again, I think it's we've seen the confidence that Doobie has brought to our group, and hopefully going into the series, it gives us a little bit of a feel, and again, some of those reasons that we want to talk about why things could be different for us. That said, why it's worked with Doobie and why it's worked for our team is we're not looking too far ahead. Right now we're excited about this series, but we're going to approach it the same way that we did against St. Louis. We've got to focus on Game 1 right now, and we got to give Doobie the best chance to be successful. But not a lot of time being spent right now about games 5, 6, 7. It's for us, it's got to be all about Game 1, and then you take what you can out of that game and get ready for the next one.
You always talk about maintaining the focus on yourselves and that you want to pay attention to your own game, your own team, but going into this series that you're facing some of the elite players in the league, guys like Taves and Hossa and Kane, who have been at their best in the playoffs. What must you do to try to slow those guys down in this series?
Well, play our game. Mike Babcock, I was just listening to him the other night against Stamkos, and he had a great quote. He said, "We're not playing against him; we're playing against their team," and that's the way we play. And we play as a unit of 5 out there. So if you take one guy and you just isolate him and put too much focus on him, it's going to take away from the rest of our game, and we'll be a lot weaker everywhere else. So we have to trust our game, but we have to do it aggressively. There has to be pressure. We have to have a physical edge to us and be on the body, but also being in control while you're doing those things. But every detail is important. Every time you stop and start, every time you go stick on puck, your positioning, being close to a guy or actually being on a guy. These are the things that add up to be, the difference in the end. But a huge factor as well is how you play with the puck. And, against a very good counterattack team, against a team that is dangerous every time they get the puck, the more you possess the puck, the better off you are.
As your players gain more experience, so do you and your staff. You guys are now in this together for a third year. How much do you lean on that experience? How much can that experience help you? How much have you learned about your team as you head into this series that will put you in a spot to be better prepared as a coach maybe than you have been in previous years?
I guess the more experience you get, the more you know, and the more you know, the more you start to realize and not try to hang your hat on that you know a lot of things. And that's, I think, what experience prepares you for, is that you're ready for anything. probably our first year we went in and you know, had a kind of a real strong idea of the way we wanted things to play out, and then we were sort of hit with a dose of reality where you know, every game is different from period to period, could be different. You know, and probably with a little bit more experience, you're able to roll with the punches a little bit more and just sort of keep yourself in the moment and keep your focus on the things that you need to do, and that's what allows you to, you know, to be successful at the end of a series. It's you know, it's kind of the culmination of doing a lot of things right for a long period of time that allow you to have that success in the end.
Vanek gains control, drops to Pominville, off the point.